Hello everyone, welcome to the Scottish Silverback Podcast, episode 43, and it's just me and Jack tonight. Greg has got stuff on and he's arse deep in his prep as well, so I think we'll give him a pass this week. But yeah, we'll just be a bit of chin wag back and forth, seeing what's what. Yeah, so you just broke some big Jack Gunn news to me before we kicked off.
Juicy goss.
Yeah,
so I've changed coaches for the first time in like 4 years. So I think I joined Ben in it was before COVID anyway, long before COVID. And yeah, just recently just kind of decided, you know, it's as much an education as it is anything else, and time to try something new. And I think having someone in the UK as well, would be really beneficial to me competing. So I kind of had to think one night, and I'd actually planned to just have a hiatus and just do my own thing for a month or two, and then kind of think about it. But a weekend, I was like, what's the point in hanging about? So I've messaged Dan Bastic back and forth in the past anyway. Quite a good relationship with him as it is. So I dropped him a message just about coaching. And he's like at the arse end of a prep as well. Yeah. But he was excited to take me on as well, which made me feel good. So he set me up now. So that's me. I've got 1 week with him under the belt. So it's start week 2. So it's been good so far. A few things are different as well. So, but I think like I'm not a coach hopper. I spent a lot of time with Ben. It's 4 years is a long time. And it was literally just to try a new direction. You know what I mean? So, and it's no discredit. I mean, Ben, even though he was in Texas, like his replies to me when I was on prep were so quick as well. So, but I think actually having someone there in the flesh would be really, really beneficial. So, yeah. So, few changes.
Big user. So what's Dan different compared to Ben?
If I was gonna, when I was with Ben just did my food and drugs. I did my own training, and then I reached out to Greg. Greg did some of my training for a while, but Dan wanted control of everything, which makes sense. So the training is probably the biggest difference. I'm doing legs fucking twice a week, mate. So it's like, which has been a bit of a. I messaged him when I checked in yesterday. I was like, mate, I don't know how long I can keep this up for. But I think once I find the groove, it should be good. But training is probably the biggest difference. Food, we kept much and such. Drugs wise, I'd actually gone to go on cycle, but I held off from going on. So that's me been off for about a solid 15, 16 weeks now. In quite a good position to just push up, but Dan wants a few kind of weeks without anything in the mix, just to see the kind of baseline, and then push up from there. So
like testing the water with like new nutrition, new training before putting any kind of drugs in and stuff.
Yeah, like I've had a few issues with appetite and my gut, like a lot of kind of reflux issues, just from having pushed food so hard, like the tail end of last year. They just kind of never went away, and to be honest, I never took much time to address it, and I probably never escalated how bad it was to Ben as well. So I was just really open and honest with him. I was like, look, mate, my appetite is not great. You know, I'm not hungry for my meals. I can eat them, but I'm not hungry for them. So he's like, well, we want to change that first, which makes sense. So we just changed a few kind of sources of foods. You know, we've switched like blueberries out for raspberries, you know, steak mince out for more salmon. So it's just like, so just like things that trigger less of a kind of reflux response in me. So, and it's actually, I've noticed an improvement already.
Have you ever done a food intolerance test?
No, but I know a lot of people that have.
Yeah, so I've got a kit, like it's the same kind of kits you get from like Medichecks and stuff. I was going to remind myself of the company. I think it's TMI testing. TMI testing. So it's test my intolerance testing. I'll share my screen because I've had a few clients do this.
How do they test it?
It's blood.
One. Oh, is it blood? There was
Yeah.
blood. There's a place here in Inverness that does this sort of thing, and you hold, it's like an electrical probe.
Aye.
And this is meant to tell you, I don't know how that works.
I know. So it was, I remember there's a company down here that do that as well. I forget the name, but the guy who owns it, don't know if he watches this or not, but he's competed a few times. Okay. And I remember this must have been like 2015 because he asked me to do it and just as like a client testimonial. And then I remember I mentioned it to Rab Craig and he was like, mate, it's a lot of shite. So I was like, right, okay. And so I went back to the boy. I was like, look, mate, Rab said this about, he didn't say it was, I didn't say Rab said it was shite, but I went back to him and said, look, mate, I've been told that a test isn't accurate and it doesn't actually determine exactly what's what. So it's kind of like the impedance scales at a gym that you hold on to. How does that know your body fat? Like, you know what I mean? How accurate is it? But this one, I've used with 4 or 5 clients now, so it's exactly the same as Medichecks. You get like a nurse to take your blood, and then the results
really cheap as well.
Yeah, it's not too bad, and it tests across 80 items, and so this is some of them here. People can see. There's a lot of food there that you wouldn't include in a bodybuilding diet, but they do test for almost every source that I put in clients' plans anyway, and it was coming up with ones. I think she was actually like intolerant to rice, like really highly intolerant. And so 2 of her meals were rice. So we swapped them out for potatoes and sweet potato, and her issues went away pretty much overnight. So it's pretty invaluable. I've got a kit. I've yet to do it because I don't know if I've said in the podcast already, but my issue turns out to be chicken. I can't eat chicken anymore. I think I've just scunned myself with it. So that's been like, if you think properly following a diet, probably like 18 to what now, I'm almost 31. So I think that many years eating like almost like 750, and when I'm on prep up to like a kilo of chicken a day, I think that's just me. Just been like, no, I'm not tolerating this anymore. So I swapped out for turkey mince, and like 2 days later, my digestion was immaculate, and it still is. Yeah, I don't get gassy. I can't believe how long I felt like shite for, because when I eat chicken, it's not like I feel ill, but I just feel like, you know, on prep, towards the end of a prep, you have like a little subtle cold. Well, a lot of people do. Yeah. It's like that. I kind of felt like there's something wrong, but I couldn't determine what. So maybe I'm just like slightly allergic to chicken now. I don't know. But remove chicken, put in turkey mince, and gone overnight.
Yeah.
So
I mean, chicken, chicken's not, it's probably one of the things I struggle with the most in terms of physically like eating it. It's probably that I find the biggest chore. Yeah. But see, since I started pressure cooking chicken, what a difference. Like,
oh, really?
Best. Yeah, what a huge difference.
Okay.
It just falls apart. Huge difference. And actually, I was speaking to Dan about that as well, and he says, yeah, that's like, he pushes that onto people as well, use a pressure cooker for chicken.
Fair enough. That's what Reagan said. I was like, I think it's chicken that's causing my gut issues, and so I swapped turkey mince, blah blah blah. And she's like, maybe it's just the fact that it's minced rather than like coming out as a whole breast. Maybe it's something like that. I've been grilling my chicken since day one, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't care to try chicken again. So I'm getting on with the turkey mince. So, but like my cheat meal just now is usually McDonald's. So I get chicken nuggets with that, and as good as it is at the time, like the next morning, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely had chicken last night. So I think it's chicken. So
it's really funny you say it, because see, McDonald's, I don't know if it's something to do with the fat that they fry with, but when I was on prep, Ben had me using double quarter pounders on my refeed days, and it was the chips. It was the aftermath of, I think it was like the fat it was coated in. It just left this horrible taste in my mouth, and it unsettled my stomach so bad. And it was specifically McDonald's, so I don't know if it's like the type of fat they use or something, but I just remember the taste the next day, and you're like, it's horrible.
Because what's Five Guys fried in? I think it's peanut oil.
I can't have that, mate. I'm fucking allergic to peanuts. Shit. Yeah, mate. I went in. They wouldn't even give me I went into the one in Glasgow. They wouldn't even give me a milkshake. They're like, can't even give you it. I'm like, fuck's sake.
Just in case someone's
just in case, yeah. So, but the place stinks of it when you go in, just peanuts. if you've got like a peanut allergy, you can tell there's lots of peanuts about.
What, do you walk in and you feel like your throat going on nuts or what?
Nah, like I'm weird. So like I actually didn't, for years I didn't know I had it. It's only if I actually ingest them,
Right.
I get like a reaction. Like I can have them in my mouth and they're fine.
Right.
It's only if I actually physically ingest it. So yeah, it's not like severe, but yeah, you're still aware.
Right. I used to work in a bakery like when I was at school, and one of the boys I used to work with, like he couldn't even handle like the box that Snickers came in. He couldn't even handle that without having a reaction. Yeah. So yeah, I know. So it's mad like how like allergic some people actually are, but like going back to that client that I had where it showed up that she was like quite allergic and intolerant to rice. I was like, fucking hell, rice, how?
Yeah, rice is a shit one because like
it's everything.
Yeah, I know, it's like the fundamental part of a bodybuilding diet.
So I know 5 of my meals are rice, and I don't like potatoes, so I'm just like, I'll be fucked. So it's one of the things. But if anyone is listening and wants me to send the link for that website, I'll be more than happy to do that, because like we said, I think the impedance ones are a bit, I don't know, I don't trust them at all. So probably best to go on that. So we're discussing each other's plans for next year, and you brought up something that. So who told you that Two Bros are doing a Scottish show? You remember?
I've had a few people. I've had like spontaneous Instagram messages, just people just telling me. I've heard through the grapevine.
I heard this. I heard this a few months ago. So I said to Reagan, I was like, just message Ian from Two Bros, who owns Two Bros, and just him and see if it's true. And he said it is. So it is
superb.
I know. So, if it does go ahead, like that's something I'm definitely doing that next year.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously, like the trek down to Maidenhead is.
Well, we were slagging it off.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I feel bad. I feel really bad now, like because we're total slagging the
podcast.
I know. No, sorry, Ian. I mean, it'll be. Do you know? Is it going to be? I take it it'll be timed in with the Scottish season.
You'd expect so. I mean, like that's what I said. It can't be. It won't be before the PCA Scottish because they've got the Kingdom Classic.
Yeah,
and it can't be. They shouldn't make it the week after. So whoever's organising it, it should be 2 weeks after. Hopefully. So that would give you late April. But I don't know who's promoting it, because I thought it was Kirk O'Brien. But I asked Kirk at the Scottish, I said, have you got anything to do with this? He's like, no, I've not heard a thing about it. He's like, he spoke to me years ago about doing a Scottish show, and it never went anywhere. It was just kind of like it was just words. So, but that'd be so good if it was.
I think it's like at a point now where it's undeniable how many Scottish athletes you've got travelling down south to qualify. So it makes total sense. And I think it will encourage more people to actually partake in the Scottish season at the start of the year as well.
100%. Exactly.
Which will be good for the other Scottish shows as well.
Because like it's not only that. This is what I said to Greg earlier as well. It's the Northern English population as well. Like it's track for them. So I would expect like North of England to come up as well. I know, but yeah, it's weird because you think with such a small industry, we would know who's promoting it. It's obviously no one to do with PCA. So yeah, but hopefully it is 100%. It does go ahead, but that'd be amazing. So
no, I'm all over that if that goes ahead.
So that's what I was saying to Dan, was that you've got like me, you. I mean, like depending on how the season goes, you've got Adam, Wojciech, Gaz. Greg will probably turn pro this year, but
Josh Dougal will probably, I think, maybe compete as well.
That's going to be a fucking
good,
unreal show.
Juicy.
Juicy one. So not like it's going to be. It's not going to be. It's definitely going to be quiet, and I think, like you said, it's going to drive more people to think. Right, well, there's Two Bros up here. I can do PCA. I can do Two Bros season. So it's definitely a good move by Two Bros to actually do something up north.
Yeah, 1000%. Yeah, because it'd be interesting to see where they have it, because there's not really like an ideal place in Scotland to have a show because.
Well, that's what I was actually going to message Ian, being like, look, I don't know who's promoting this. I don't know who you've got on board, but I would do it in Motherwell. I'd do the same place as PCA.
Yeah. Motherwell, or even somewhere like fucking Stirling, somewhere like, because if because you've got so many people from up here over a kind of Aberdeen, Dundee direction as well coming down. It's you've got a lot of people up here now. It's less like down here.
Aye.
It's you know what I mean. So
yeah,
the Motherwell venue is good. That's what it was this year, was it?
Aye, PCA.
Aye, yeah. Because I seen that, and I never made it, but I seen on Instagram like the seats at the back. There was tiered.
I had seats.
Yeah, they didn't have that. The year I did it, they didn't have that tiered seating. So must be pretty busy, was it?
It was mobbed, mate. It was. That's one of the next topics that will come up. Was the PCA Scottish. I thought it was probably the highest standard Scottish I've ever seen.
It looked good. It looked really good.
Yeah, across every class, because you know what it's like. You go to most like regional shows, regardless of the federation, and in each class, almost every single class, there's like maybe one, maybe two, maybe more than that sometimes, of people you're just like, mate, who told you to do a bodybuilding show?
Yeah,
it's like people who are way off. But I don't remember anyone from the Scottish where I was like, you shouldn't have stepped on stage. Everyone looked good. So
yeah, it's an enjoyable show. Like I've done that show twice.
Yeah.
And the last year I did it was in Hamilton, but the actual show itself I found was a really well run. As an athlete, it was a good show. You got plenty space backstage. Like there's kit there to pump up with. The PCA Tanners I found are like exceptional.
Yeah.
So I've always found them a really good show to compete with. The two times that I've done it.
Did you do tall class when you done it?
No, I was when I did it, I came in and I registered for class 1. So they changed the height parameters in the time that between I last competed. So I came in, registered, they took my height, booked me in, that was cool. Sat down, my phone rang like 10 minutes later. And the guy's like, "Is that Jack?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You need to come back to the registration desk." So I went back. He's like, "We've put you in the wrong class." He says, you're too short for class 1. Right. I was an inch. I'm like just under 5'11". So I was an inch away from being class 1. So I got moved down into class 2.
Yeah.
Medium or whatever.
Aye. That was like me at NABA. So I'm class 1 in NABA, but I'm class 1 by 0.5 of a centimetre. So it's like
fucking hell.
I mind the boy at NABA, he was like, "What do you want to do, class 1 or class 2?" And I was like, "Fucking class 1." So yeah, it's mad the cut-offs though. But I thought the PCA Scottish was brilliant. The crowd was awesome. Yeah. You can definitely see that kind of Scottish standard getting better and better and better. And that was a show without, you know, there's a lot of other guys in Scotland who could easily, are really good guys that could have been in that show as well. So it's we're definitely in the right direction up here anyway.
Yeah, I don't, you'll probably pick up on this. So like in the past, there was this kind of like with people from down south, if you went to a Scottish show, there was this kind of mentality that we're here because this is like an easy, this is like an easy qualifier, you know, this is like an easy show sort of thing. Well, I think that's totally turned on its head now with the like standard of people in Scotland, because you've now got people from across the board, people from Ireland as well coming over, but you've got Scottish people winning the Scottish shows consistently, you know, which is really good to see. So it's kind of like turned that dynamic on its head.
And that's what I mean with the Scottish Two Bros coming in as well. It would be even better to have that. And also just the luxury of not having to travel too far. Like, like Maidenhead, it's not even like Birmingham or Manchester. It's like London. It's like it's just a nightmare. It's getting there is fine. It's sitting on a plane is fine. It's the hassle of like walking through the airport, carrying all your stuff, like all the shit in between as well. You travel from the airport to Maidenhead, but by the time you stand and book into the hotel, it's like an 7-hour-long ordeal. And you're so behind with food, and it's not ideal for any competitive athlete. I don't think. Yeah.
So
So if you were to do the Scottish, what pro qualifier would you do? It's just saying in April.
I really don't know. It would depend how far apart, to be honest. I'd like to give myself like 4 to 6 weeks probably after the Scottish, so whatever would fall in line with that kind of time frame. When's the Ben Leader?
That'll be before it's the first weekend of April usually.
So it's the first one, right? Okay. And you said this Kingdom Classic is before.
That's usually the last weekend of March, yeah.
So
I think my game plan is if the Scottish, it doesn't matter if the Scottish there or not, I'll still do a May regional Maidenhead. But so Greg's doing the Spanish Amateur Olympia. So it'll be that one. So the first weekend of June will be what I'm aiming for just now, anyway. So I'm just waiting for, like, the shoulder feels fine. It's just a case of I'm just waiting for like that day or those days or a couple of weeks of training where I'm like my chest sessions are like flying and like I'm moving weight nice and easy. I'm not struggling. I'm not kind of feeling unstable. So once I get that, then I'll start pushing and push for the rest of the year. So
do you still have that, like, so I know with my pecs, I'm like, although they're pretty much like good to go, in your head it's still very you're expecting something that it's like you're almost like being scared. It's like a phobia of pressing. Have you got that still?
I would say it is, yeah. I'm more mindful than scared. It's like, it's when I flick the dumbbells back. It's just that. See, I put them in position. It's fine from there. It's just that flicking. I'm a bit like fear of it, but I don't get the same contraction or the feeling from anything else other than incline dumbbell. I use a Cybex incline as well, but that could never be my sole movement. Like, I love the way dumbbells move. I like to rotate my hands and all that as well. So I want to keep them in. So I managed to put 10K on them this week. That felt fine up until like the last set. So I'm just doing 3 straight sets, no failure, nothing. So the last couple of reps, I was like, right, I can feel like my teres minor just under the armpit. I could feel that like starting to burn, and not in a good way. So I was like, right, that's enough. And then on the Cybex incline, I managed to put another plate on, load it myself, and that felt pretty comfortable. So it's getting there. Every time my physio goes through it, it doesn't feel as painful when he goes through it. So obviously it's kind of easing off just a little bit. But like my training is still as good. I'd say it's about probably like 85% just now across. Good. So
it's really good,
yeah. I hope that, obviously I wanted to get better as soon as possible, but I guarantee you, like, obviously I've already called off this year, but I bet you like the mid-May mark, which is when I would start prep, I bet you those weeks are amazing leading up to it. I'm like, fuck, I'll just
but there's always that question of if you did actually crack on with your plans, and that, I mean, I think it's better safe than sorry in that scenario, because I would totally fuck up my prep. Totally fuck it up. You'd be so raging.
It's like I think I've said to you before. It's like, unless you're 100% want to prep, don't prep.
Yeah.
You need to be 100%. Even if you're 99.9 and that 0.1% is like my shoulder or whatever, that is enough to throw me off.
Yeah. Well, what carries you through it is the want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's, if you don't have that, it's going to be a struggle. Right. So I totally agree.
What do you make of the granite? Have we done a podcast since the granite?
No, probably not. No. It was fucking brilliant, mate. Do you know, I always every year like take my hat off to Rob, because there's like in my head there's a difference between a competition and a show. Like, and it's like, it's a show. Do you know what I mean? It's like entertaining. Like, there's so many people there who are not like, bodybuilding's not their thing, or they're there to support family, and they stay for the whole thing. They're like enjoying it. So it was fucking brilliant. So there was Layla guest posed, Greg guest posed. It was broken up really well, like well-timed intervals. There was like food available outside. There was like plenty of like vendors and wee stalls and stuff there. So it was like the thriving is probably the best word for it. It was really good, and number of competitors really good as well. Don't think wasn't many empty classes. And standard was good as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm quite glad I missed it because I was down south with a first timer in Birmingham. So, I had to kind of decide whether, who was more like, I don't want to say important, that's the wrong word, but who should I prioritize?
Who needs you the most?
Yeah, so I've got a guy who's done 3 shows with me, and I've got a girl who's done none, who's never seen it. Who's never even been at a show before, which I found baffling.
Makes sense.
So it made sense to go down. So she came second, which was good. So I was happy with that. She was delighted with that as well. So, but I'm excited I'm going to definitely go to the Granite next year. It's obviously people visit family as well. So, but last year, the year I guest posed at it, that was fucking brilliant. I just love that. Like
it's good. Yeah,
it's totally, like you said, it's a show. It's not just competition. So,
how long was your guest post slot?
5 minutes.
You were on stage for fucking ages, mate. I was like, wait a minute.
I know. I was like, I don't think I cooled down until about 5 hours later. I was pissing this fucking ages. So I just said to Rob, I was like, I'll do these 3 songs if you don't mind. Mate, do as long as you want. So the first portion of the routine of the guest spot was my posing routine from that year or the previous season, and then the rest I just winged it. So
it was good. It was cool seeing Greg's guest spot this year as well. So,
that's what I'll do. I'll see if I can. Has he got it on his Instagram? I think
he put a post up, but he used the overall men's sword as a prop.
Yeah,
it was cool. It was cool as fuck. So I had to speak to him after, and I was like, "That the sword was cool," and he was like, "Mate." He's like, "You should see how fucking heavy that thing was." He's like, "It's in my fucking wrist."
Because the overall sword I got from the NABA Scottish, that's fucking heavy. That's so heavy.
Yeah.
I was like, no way did like guys back in the day like swing this at each other. How the fuck was you supposed to fight with one of them?
Mate, there's I got sent from one of my mates on Instagram. He forwarded on this. There's a girl, she competes in Scotland. I can't remember her name. It was a shame. So she won a PCA first timer overall, I think. And she was obviously walking down the street with a sword, and the police confiscated the sword off her.
Fuck off, really?
And she's not getting it back. Yeah, it's classed as a weapon. Yeah, so she got her overall sword confiscated. It's fucking blunted. But I seen it on Instagram. I think I can't remember the girl. I'll try and find out. But what a shame. What a shame. Her first time, like, you've just won a fucking overall and you get your sword taken off you. Like,
I bet, was that a bikini girl? Well, it doesn't matter. Like, most girls anyway, but like, a wee tiny girl tanned up, like, what's she going
to do with the sword? Exactly. Yeah. It was a shame. I felt sorry for her.
Aye. Because like I said, the claymore that at NABA, it's like struggled to get in the car and everything. I was fucked.
Aye.
So yeah, see when I saw him do this, I was like, what the fuck?
Mate. I know. He's it was like smooth as hell as well. Yeah. But he looked shit up. So I was like I was like in the crowd, but it was like there was a lot going on. So I moved to the side to watch his guest spot. It was fucking nuts. It was fucking nuts because like a lot with like Greg, what you don't see from the front is like how like thick he is front to back, especially like in the hamstrings and that. So see, like standing side on, it was cool as fuck. Really cool.
He must have been happy with that.
So he was 7 weeks out at that point, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 weeks ago.
Big Gregor, he's always got to fucking jump in, doesn't he?
That's it.
I forget her name.
Is it Lauren?
Lauren, yeah, she's phenomenal. She's brilliant. Obviously, guys.
Yeah, she looked really, really good. There was another girl that was there actually, Samantha. She trains at Muscle Hut. She looked really good. Like,
she does.
Quads were mental quads. Mental quads.
So she was standing next to me and Reagan, like taking photos of our pals on stage at the PCA, and I was like, oh, that must be a bikini girl because like there was like in clothes, there was like nothing to her. And then like I was like, and then Reagan was like, that's that girl standing next to her. I was like, no, fuck, it wasn't. No chance.
Yeah.
But it was. I was like, here, did you go on stage?
Yeah. So
I just saw look how fast it's going, but I just saw you at the start there.
There's a story. It might come up again. So we turned up in the morning, and they were in Granite they've got like TVs all around the building and in the athlete area. So they're trying to set up the lighting and trying to set up the cameras for the TVs, like align them up. So they asked Taylor and myself to go up.
Right. Okay.
And mate, I'd literally just walked in. I was like fresh out of my bed. Yeah. I was like just eating my first meal, and I was like that. Pete's like, "Get your kit off and get upstage." And I was like, "What?" So yeah, it was a bit of fun. It was good, and we just just find a couple of poses for them to adjust the lighting and stuff. So
you didn't tell me you were guest posing.
Not yet, mate. Just forgot my tan, diet, the whole lot. So
Stephen won obviously classic.
Yeah, Steve just looks nuts all the time, man. He just fucking does bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting.
It was last year. I was looking at Neve in warehouse, and Stephen was like practicing his posing. I was like, "How long have you been dieting?" About 4 days. I was like, "What?"
I was like, "You dick."
I know. It's not even like, obviously we all see each other on stage. We're like, "Oh fuck, that's class. That's brilliant." But with him, I was like, "You're a dick." 4 days. Fuck you know.
It's funny because he like 4 days out, but he'll still be training with. I've seen him training with Big Kyle before, who's a fucking tank, and they're like doing like mental like overhead pressing. You know what I mean? It's like 4 days out.
Big shout out to Darren Mullally in the posing award.
I think he sponsored the best poser.
Yeah, he did. Just give him a shout out because I know he watches this. He's an avid fan.
Oh, I die.
There's it.
I'm delighted.
That's Sam there, isn't it? Aye.
Yeah, that's right. I was sat at the back. The quads were absolutely mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental, yeah. Like really, really good. I think Lauren and Samantha, if they compete next year, that'll be like nuts.
Yeah.
With a bit of time off. If they come back, that'll be cool.
Chris. Yeah. Big guys.
Yeah, that's guys.
Right. That's class.
Yeah.
It's another good show. Like you said there, big congratulations to Rob and the team. It seems to be getting better and better each year, and you hear more people talking about it and all that as well. Because, like you said, it is, as much as it's a competition, it's definitely a show, and it's as good as the PCA Scottish is as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's my favourite show of the year, but it's like there is a nice comparison between the two.
Yeah.
Like you've got something different at each of them, which I think is great. So, so these are the Scottish results. So, are they posted it backwards? They posted it backwards. So that's the overalls there.
Yeah.
That's taking it again. And what's her name again? Amy. I think it's Amy. Yeah, she was brilliant as well. And that's Dylan.
They're all good
too. It's good to see a Masters win the overall physique.
Yeah. Is he from Aberdeen?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, sure. Recognise the face. Yeah, guys look good.
Craig isn't he Nathan Diash's training partner?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So yeah.
One there. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, from Flex Unit. That's right. He's a nice guy. I've seen him before.
No, Dean's. Dean comes to me for posing, so it's like seeing him in the flesh. He's just got a wacky physique, so it's good to see.
Yeah,
it's not here because I think I can't remember if he tried. I think he used Protan for Two Bros, and because he's tattooed like neck to feet, so did him no favors. But with the Dream Tan on, it made a huge difference. So
big difference, yeah. Protan, there's a lot to be said about Protan, eh?
I just wish, like, even with Protan, right, you're still getting the venue and backstage clattered with tan. So why is Dream Tan such a problem? I don't get it.
I don't know. It's
So
Oh yeah, I've seen this guy's posing routine.
It's good, eh?
Yeah, I was like, I want whatever he's had before he's come out on stage.
I know, mate. It's like it's good to what's that comment? fucking savage. It's good to see someone with that level of confidence like really going for it and enjoying themselves, because that's what I tell posing clients and clients obviously, is that just go fucking enjoy it. Like you only literally feel like 20 seconds on stage, and he made the most of it. Like so. I remember
that last year where I was speaking to Jason. I was like, mate, you just need to smile. Like if you look like you don't want to be there, you'll get judged as though you don't want to be there. It's like
that's exactly it. But no, I thought, don't get me wrong, he was good. He was really good. But I felt the guy who came second.
His name, I know him. He's a nice guy. He probably a lot more muscled.
Aye, yeah, he was. I think it wasn't even. I think Eric's shape is phenomenal. He's got such a nice. And I think
the condition wasn't miles off.
Yeah, because I spoke to Nick Vandal was judging, so I spoke to him and he was saying that the judges had, the guy who came second and first. But I mean, that's bodybuilding at the end of the day. Sometimes,
yes, it's what it is. It's what it is.
It's the girl that won wellness, physique. Carly's done really well. Carly's doing really well this season.
Yeah, she won at Granite as well, I think.
Yeah, she won everything.
Yeah.
Chris again. Chris won medium, yeah. There was a guy in Chris's class, I think he was either second or third, big, he looked like a radiant to me.
He told me about him. So I messaged, because Chris messaged me and say, I've got your trophy now. So I was like, who was the guy that was next to him? He's a big dude. He said there's like some Iranian guy or something, but I think if it would have been close, if I think it was a condition thing. Chris always comes in pretty peeled.
Yeah.
But the other guy, he was a big boy.
It was also the guy's tan. Like he definitely had tan on, but it was like one of the worst tans I've ever seen. It would just like elite muddy. And also, I'm pretty sure he hadn't shaved apart some of his body.
A few people said that, yeah.
I have, that's one thing, like I have like this recurring nightmare where I stand on stage and I'm still hairy.
like gorilla.
And I was like, that boy that's like my worst fear, and he's just done it. So Lewis looked class as well.
Yeah, a good set of delts on him.
Yeah, I think if he came in, a bit sharper, like he could have pushed Gaz, I think.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? It's below the waist, really.
Yeah.
It's like the legs are just a bit washed, but everything above is sharp.
Ross Kerr's his coach, isn't he?
Does he?
I think so.
Ross was guest posing somewhere at the weekend, I think.
And I think Lewis is a kind of testament to fall back. There we go. To the fact that obviously he started as a natty.
Yeah.
But obviously he's developed that base and then obviously moved into untested, I'm assuming. It kind of just show you when you have that base naturally, when you do eventually take that step, it's
but it shows you the role that the drugs play and what it takes for them to actually serve their purpose. To be a good natty, you have to be really on it with your training, with your food, with every aspect of rest. So like when you're that optimal, chucking the drugs in the mix, like it's like firelighters on a fire, isn't it?
Masters Bikini, and then Tony, and he's Irish, I think. He looked really good.
Yeah. Some of these fucking physique guys, man, are massive.
I know. It's like just put a pair of classic trunks on, mate, and go and compete.
Well, I think with two bros anyway, I'm pretty certain most of the men's physique guys are classic guys that didn't make weight.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
This guy though, right? So I don't know if you've noticed, but Reagan's like kind of started her own like commentary thing.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you, so I won't say anything just now, but
Right.
She got approached by someone very, very big in the industry.
Good.
Quite helpful. So anyway, so this boy won the Warrior Show.
It's fucking mental.
So Darren sent me that, right? And I was like, that's photoshopped, mate. He went, no, it's not. I was like, no way, is that fucking real?
Where's this fucking waist?
I know. It doesn't make sense. The proportions don't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Mind that black guy from, I think it's the 80s, and he's got like a taper like that. Fucking tight. What's his name again?
The Surge?
No. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway,
that's insane though.
I know. That's what I said. Reagan is like, he obviously is too big for his weight cap in classic. But that's fucking mental, man. That is just daft proportions. That's God given that.
It's the midsection, yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, shameless plug if you are wanting to keep up with every single show of the calendar. Because I've got a calendar in front of me here that Reagan's made, and it's got every single one. So,
no, that'd be good.
Did you see this?
No.
Right. Oh no, like you've had a package.
Oh, fucking. Oh.
Gone.
Oh, you fucker.
Aye.
Did you see Thor? Thor his.
Oh, did he?
Thor Bjornsson. He tried to do a 250 kilo bench. Torn his back.
Page.
Should be, yeah. Yeah, he's torn his back. But it was on Instagram anyway. The video might be up. There's the picture on the bruise.
Let's see.
250 bench, man. Like, fuck that. I'm just, every injury I've had, most of it been a flat bench. Nah, that's not it. There was loads of people standing about them.
All right.
If you actually click on his tagged,
on his
and if you go up, maybe on his the bit that's tagged, it might be in there.
Oh, there.
There. That's it.
Oh, I don't know if I'll watch this.
It's more like, apparently you can hear it.
As bad as Ryan Crawley's?
Nah, nothing's as bad as that. So you just hope you see it. Oh yeah, fucker. If you,
you can see the dimple already.
You actually see it. You see it move.
Fuck.
Yeah, look at his arm, but fucking.
I'll watch it one more time and I'll stop. It's like watching a car crash. Oh fuck!
It's fucking bogging. I'm having like PTSD for that, man.
Mate, it's like, honestly, I understand Thor because he competes in strength sports, so it's different. But like Charles, like Charles is more than big enough. He does not need much weight like that.
No,
and like I think I'm allowed to say this now because I learned the hard way as well. I didn't have a violent tear, but I've had to have surgery to correct what I've done, and it's I'm now looking at everything with like perfect 20/20 hindsight. Like, I'm nowhere near as big as Charles, and even I shouldn't be handling the kind of weight that I can use. But it just shows there comes a point where, you know, how fucking strong can you possibly be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, fair enough, it's impressive, and yeah, it does add muscle to your frame. But when you're just say deadlifting 300k every single week for fucking 10 weeks on end, like,
what are you getting from that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you do 3 sets of 240 or 220? That's still heavy. But
and then there's the difference between actually moving weight from A to B versus actually being in control of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's I see a lot of it in the gym as well. And I see so many, everyone's got this, like, I had it when I started as well, this fixation with flat bench. But most of my injuries that I've got have stemmed from a flat bench. Like, I won't even need it. So like, it's not, I wouldn't do it again. No, never again.
It's I think I was quite lucky because I think quite early on in my training, I kind of noticed, like, every time I flat benched, I would come away with, like, my shoulder would be like this the next day. I'd be like, pulled in like that. And I'm like, that's not right. That this isn't right. So quite thankfully, I've binned the flat bench. I think I was still in my teens when I binned it. So I'm quite thankful that I did that. But I think I moved back to obviously incline barbell 2 years ago.
That's good.
Yeah, I do like it, and I do feel powerful on it. Especially when you bring to the bar to your collarbone and stuff, it just feels all chest. But I think that's definitely contributed to my shoulder. I think I'm never going to barbell press ever again. I might Smith press when it's healthy again, but I'm not touching a barbell ever again. I need that kind of allowing internal rotation through the shoulder. But yeah, mate, and obviously I'm a big advocate for, like, see when you've got someone who's new or is not that particularly developed, they have to train that. You do have to push logbooks, you do have to push numbers, strength, create that base, and then from there, that's when like you start trickling in volume, start doing like fluffy stuff. But ever since I had to change my training, I've seen like a rapid growth in my weaker areas, my shoulders and my chest, just from like just focusing on squeezing and stuff, and starting with a pec deck movement with like moderate weight for like 20 reps, drop sets and all sort of stuff, and avoiding anything less than 10 reps, avoiding bars. So, but that's taken me a while to kind of recognize that. And obviously go through an injury as well. But it's, like I said, bodybuilding's really good at it's good to have 20/20 hindsight in bodybuilding. So you take it, obviously learn from it, but that's just the way the game is.
There's got to be a bit of foresight involved as well, because it's like you need to stay in one piece. Because see, like the first pec injury I had, I mean, I was 6, 7, 8 months with no pressing. So for what I would have gained if I executed that set without the injury, like it still would have given me no more than like what I lost over that 8 months of not being able to push. Like it set me so far back. So it's just there's a time and a place for certain things. Yeah,
definitely. And I've said this to him before. Like Greg gives me the fear sometimes. Some of the weight he's using.
Mate, I'm training with him next week. I'm fucking like every time I go down with him, I come back in fucking bits.
Aye.
So
he obviously Greg's back is phenomenal. Like how much more does he possibly need to add through that kind of training? I've said this to him, so
and it's the numbers he's shifting would push a lot of like I know powerlifters. Like, do you know what I mean? I've showed guys I know who do powerlifting his lifts, and they're like, what the fuck?
Aye,
this guy's a bodybuilder.
It's like a deadlift. It's a stiff leg. It's
exactly.
It's
fucking nuts.
Everything training wise, I feel has its place, and it's kind of now that I'm not looking through like one lens. I'm watching a lot of like Mike Van Wyck's stuff, like superset, all that sort of stuff. The stuff I would have like literally scoffed at in the past, and just right now's the time to kind of actually be a bit more open-minded, having trained like that since almost one, with Graham and stuff like that, and Nick's a big advocate for that style of training as well. But I think actually, to be fair to Nick, I wouldn't say he's pure like working set back off type person. I think he does kind of incorporate a lot of different methods in his training. And then obviously when I started working with Patrick as well, like that style, a lot of rest pausing, a lot of clusters. That was a bit an eye opener as well. But Patrick still had me do like big heavy sets to failure as well. Which for me, having learned the very hard way, I don't think is what I need for my shoulders and chest. I think what I need is just like a lot of isolation, a lot of moderate weight, and a lot of volume and a lot of work ahead.
I totally agree. I mean, up until recently, most of what I did was like 4 sets of like 15, 4 sets of 20, which I sort of went off on a different traction when I stopped training with Graham. But just maybe that's where it comes from. But recently, like, when I was kind of doing some bits with Greg, training wise, introduced more of the kind of rest pause work, and I took really well to it. That's probably the most actual numbers have gone up in the gym in terms of load. But like the plan I've got over from Dan, he's got like it's like isometric holds on a seated hamstring curl.
Yeah.
They start like I've not ever done. I'm like, I'll give it a go because you know what I mean. You never know.
Yeah.
Time will tell. But I'm more open to it than I was in the past for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said there, everything works. Everything works. It's just a case of application and doing it properly and that. So no, I'll be excited to see what you can do with that now. Because obviously you gave, I think you and Ben did a lot together, and it's sometimes it's just time to start something fresh and just kind of move on from there.
Yeah, it was just it's like you know when you feel like you're maybe losing a bit of momentum, or you think like when you've got a big goal and you're like, for me to achieve this big goal, I need everything like in place or as best as it can be. So like I need someone who can physically be there with me. Like if I'd kind of stayed, I'd have been leaving myself short of those things.
Yeah.
So it's all about the kind of end goal, isn't it? So hopefully it'll make a difference.
I think you'll be the same as me, where you feel like if you waste even a day, you feel like it's just a massive goal at this stage. So
what's the point? It's because I think that's even more so because things happen so slowly now. I think I said this last time, but since like pushing like to the weight I'm at now, being a bit bigger, like putting on a pound of tissue is like fucking an ordeal. Do you know what I mean? It's not like what it once was. So it's everything happens so much more slowly, and I feel I need to be the most on it that I've ever been. So
what are you weighing now?
So I float between 268, 272, and that's me like off everything. My food's low as fuck, mate. I think my training day is 4-2, rest day is 3-8. So it's not even like I'm pushing, but like the appetite's coming back. So I think I could quite comfortably sit like 280, 285. I couldn't realistically see myself pushing higher than that this off season. But if I can keep my waist, as it is now, I'll be fucking delighted.
That's kind of what I go into, like, especially the last 2 seasons that I've done. I was like, right, I'm going to keep my waist as tight as humanly possible, but the first place I add body fat is my waist, that lower ab.
First,
that's there within weeks. So I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm not
gonna. You held 300 really well.
I still had abs at 300.
Yeah. So, did you feel comfortable with that? Yeah.
No. So I was too.
You visually looked really good at that weight.
I think it was like, I think Greg pointed it out as well, because I sent Greg my check-in as well, and he pointed it out, it's like the ability to pose. I can still pose as if I'm 250. So
says a lot. Yeah.
I think that makes it look like it is a little more comfortable. But for instance, like I can feel, I just feel heavy all the time. I fall asleep all the time. Yeah, I kind of got like this constant like brain fog all the time. So I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable. It's definitely that 297 that I held prior to the operation was like probably the best I felt at that weight, but it's still I still don't feel that good. You know what I mean? I was 293 on Saturday. Still have abs, just. So it's a good look, and I think Nick thinks I'm bigger than I was at 297. So because I did do my food for about 6-7 weeks, down to about 4,000, just over 4,000. So which for me is a fair drop. So I think I did take a little bit of body fat in that time, and
you would have done,
yeah. So it's kind of
and the rest kind of period you've been training well, like. Body's in a good place, do you know what I mean, to kind of push again. So probably a good place actually to kind of not prep.
Yeah. You think about obviously if I've been going hard since I was like 18, like I would take like a week off when I go on holiday, like time off here and there, but like I didn't train from the 21st of December until 2 weeks later was the first time I touched a weight again. And then there was about a 4-week period where I didn't do anything but just moving like the machine without weight on it. So that's 6 weeks. That's probably the longest stint I've ever done without doing anything really. And it's definitely paid off, because I feel like, even though I still can't train 100% to the shoulder, I feel like I'm coming back really quickly. And then some. So it's a good spot to be in. So I'm happy with where I am, and I can't fault the recovery time, because there was surgeon originally said like 12 weeks of nothing. So if that was, that would be me just getting back into it now. So definitely.
I think there's a lot like in an off season to be said about, you know, feeling good as well as looking good as well. So I think if you're at that extremity and you're feeling that shit, that's going to reflect in what you're doing in the gym, and you know what I mean. So it's
for me.
I know what you mean with the sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure the same. It's like, for me, it's the digestion. See, like we've brought up in the podcast before, but like my digestion was shocking for years. I'm talking like 7+ years.
Where why?
I think it was down to chicken. It must have been. Now that I've kind of figured it out, I felt
fucking chickens.
I know. I took oats out of my diet. That helped a wee bit. I can't eat certain vegetables. That helped a wee bit, but I was still never 100%. Like one morning I'd wake up, it'd be fine. The next morning it'd be a fucking apocalypse in the toilet. It's just like, it was so flip-floppy. I'd have some really bad bloating. I got to the point, right, where like, Reagan come here, where like my farts were like just fucking reeking of grilled chicken. That's why I decided to pull the chicken out, because my farts, it was stinking of fucking grilled chicken.
It's probably a good indication, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and then when I was like cooking grilled chicken, I was like, oh, I feel sick just even thinking about eating that, because it smells like my arse. So it was things like, oh fuck. So that's what it was, mate. Like one day I went, nah, let's bench chicken and see what happens, and I'm fucking delighted that I did. Like it's definitely So
do you get like reflux or anything at all, or digestion?
So like it was quite funny actually. So I was speaking to my client Stephen. He suffers really badly with acid reflux, and I was kind of like, I get it occasionally, but it's not too bad. It's manageable. Like usually, even just a swig of water and it's gone. And then like that day, I had really bad acid reflux. So obviously,
it's horrible.
I get it now and again, but it lasts for maybe a day, 2 days, and then it kind of quiets down. And it's not until I do another food push that I get it again. So
you get it, yeah.
You get it quite bad.
It was so up until recently. It was fucking horrendous. Like, I was waking up 2 times in the night with it. Like fucking, it's a sponsorship from these guys that I need. Fucking Rennies. But like, I just non-stop all the time waking up, and it was so bad. It was a feeling of wanting to be sick, but it's like you want to throw up fire. It was horrible. But then I've changed a few food sources out. Pushing easy to get carbs with cream and rice, so I was just using that. But I think how hard I was pushing it has part to do with it.
Yeah. You cut out a wee bit there, but I think I got the gist of it though.
Pushing cream and rice too hard.
Have you tried omeprazole?
Yeah, I've tried it before, but it's I don't want to become reliant upon it. I'd rather fix the root cause and actually stop it altogether than just suppress it, because with it came bloat as well. And I was like, I don't want to like just suppress the feeling and still have the bloat. I kind of want to get, you know what I mean? So, but it's a temporary measure. It works.
I know, that's what I kind of say. You want to address what's actually causing it, rather than masking it with a drug. So, like, for instance, when guys say like, "Oh, I'm getting gyno," like if you're going to get gyno, you're probably going to get gyno regardless. But you change your dosage of your compounds. See if that helps first, rather than masking it with Nova, because Nova has its own sides. So, it's like wee things like that. But like you said, just address it. So it takes time, and diet elimination is fucking boring, and it's so like you have to be so patient with it as well. It's just one of those things where you just want it to sort it overnight, especially when like if your digestion's off, it affects your mood and your training and everything. So definitely you want to sort pretty quickly. So
no, 100%, totally.
I mean, as I say, coming up for an hour. Don't want to bore the subscribers any longer, but no, cheers for coming on, mate. And it was a nice discussion, and obviously dropped the bomb of the new coach.
That's it.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens with you. I'm really interested to see that, because I know Dan works with some really good guys, and he's done some great work. So be interested to see. Yep,
no, definitely, mate.
Right, guys, if you made it this far, cheers for tuning in and staying tuned in. Remember to subscribe and follow and do all that kind of social media shite. So once again, guys, cheers, and we'll speak to you next time. Thanks.
Cheers.